Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Madam Secretary, for being before us today. I have two questions for you. The first one was that I recently was in the Calexico-Mexicali border. And from the Mexico side, they have poured cement, they have built new roadways to come over to make another land port, if you will, that I think was, from my understanding, was agreed to by both sides, and somehow or another the funding has not come, or the cuts in the budget are not making this new land port happen from our side, which is just amazing to see it happening on the other end and nothing from our end. So the first thing would be, the locals had asked me to come and take a look at it, obviously, the council people and the county supervisor. So what's going on with that, and what can we do? Because they tell me that it's about 3 hours standing time if you're a pedestrian to go across that section right now, and I happen to know because I have family in Mexicali, so I asked them, what do you think? They said, absolutely, it's taken way too long. 2-3 hours. Sometimes in the summer it's 130 degrees out there with no cover. So the question, what are we doing with respect to that? And then the second question I have for you, Madam, is that this January the media reported that 2 tourists from the United Kingdom were denied entry to the United States by CBP because of comments they had posted on Twitter. So do you know anything about this incident? Is it a CBP practice to see what foreign nationals are putting on social media, and is that determining their admittance to the U.S.?
With respect to the port question, I can look specifically into Mexicali, but the southern border ports come through are budgeted through the GSA, not through DHS. We get the northern ports, but not the southern border ports. It's kind of ironic. And the GSA budget has not fared well in the Congress, and that has slowed down a number of important projects, including land ports along the southwest border, which are necessary for travel and trade, all the things that go on in that border area. I think that's probably where it's caught up. With respect to the 2 tourists... And
so, Madam, how could we, what's the mechanism if they're necessary, and if your department deems them necessary, to get this moving?
Well, I think the question is trying to do everything we need to do within the confines of the Budget Control Act. We're all dealing with that as a fiscal reality. We need to reduce the deficit. We all recognize that as well. But because GSA is governed by a different set of committees and a different appropriations process, it does become, a little bit 2 ships passing in the night. We are in constant touch with GSA, working with them. They know the priorities, but they only have so much money.
Thank you. And then the question of the foreign nationals from England.
Without getting too much in the weeds, we aren't sitting there monitoring social media looking for stuff. That's not what we do. In that instance, there was a tip, and the tip led to a secondary inspection of the individuals, and that governed the judgment of exclusion, not just the Twitter or tweet.
So was the tweet taken into account as your department was thinking of whether to let these people in or not?
It was, but I'm really not at liberty to say all of the reasons, but I think the impression was left that CBP is just sitting around, wandering the blogosphere, looking for things, and that is not what CBP does. They do, however, when they receive a specific tip, have an obligation to follow it up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll yield back.
Certainly yields back. The gentleman from Texas, the chairman of the Subcommittee on Oversight Investigation, Mr. McCall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Secretary, thank you for being here today. Thank you for your service.